Alright, so this is a post comment thing, and sorry for these like 25 seconds, but if there's sections that I feel are lacking, I'm gonna add annotations in, and that's because many of the glitches I use are shown in the last video, and this is just putting them into different practical ways, and if I feel I didn't explain enough, I'm gonna put in an annotation. So I'm picking up at Incident 9. And this is one of the trickier stages in that you have to follow a very specific route, but you also have to bomb blocks. Now, as you've just seen, there's a trick that occurs right in the beginning. This trick is to fire at the furthest point without scrolling the screen. Now if you do that, you have a chance of not killing the bomb, so he will just start instantly walking as soon as the wall breaks. However, more likely, you will also blow up the bomb, but I don't know, I still find it faster. Now for the end of the stage, it's easier to just switch and have the bomb fall down the pit. Otherwise, you'll get hit, and you'll waste 3 seconds, and we all know how bad 3 seconds gone is. Alright, this is one of the more freestyle stages, I guess. I've found a few interesting glitches. I don't know I wouldn't call them glitches, but I'd call them not intended. The first one is as soon as you begin the stage, you could drop down and shoot. If you miss, then you don't kill the guy, so you're wasting time because then you have to jump back. But if there's like a few frames where you can clip it in between the block and hitting the guy. Now, this is very specific to do, because if you fire too soon, you'll just smash into the block, and if you fire too late, then he'll just fall down. So you have approximately like 4 pixels going down to get it through, I guess. But still, it's not very hard. The second trick is for the guy that you have to shoot. Normally he would go down a pathway, but instead, if you just wait for him to get on the purple thing and then switch, you could jump and hit the ceiling and then shoot him. That's one of the easier tricks. Now for the next trick, I actually learned way to use the kickback from the gun to increase your jump distance. So what you do is you fire the gun facing left, and then you immediately jump to the right. But you have to be careful of how you switch in this section, because if you switch too soon, you will crash the screen, and if you switch too late, then you know, you're not gonna make the jump, and it's pretty retarded. The next tricky section is the fall jump above the spikes. You have very few amount of pixels before you'll hit the damage marker. What you're supposed to do is just hold left, and then you have to get used to the timing. It's really tricky, and I still have a lot of problems with it. But it has to be like a reactionary switch, because I don't know if it's our face or a gun, but it gets caught in the middle of it, and that will just let you zoop away. Incident 11 is one of the trickier stages. It's one of those clicky stages again, but this time it matters. Really matters on when you switch or not. Now, the easiest way to do it is just figure out the color pattern, because other than that, there's really no major glitches to do. For this incident, there's a few tricky spots on it. You have to do switch walking, which you should learn fairly easily. It's not very hard, but you can mess it up easily. And there's a lot of gun boost jumping that can be used, and there's also one pixel perfect jump. Now, the pixel perfect jump is coming up, and it is by far probably one of the hardest jumps in the game, I would say, but it depends on your own abilities on being able to do it. But basically what it is you have to get to the very edge of the platform, and then you have to jump on the pixel right before she will start the falling animation. If you hit the falling animation, the jump won't come out and you lose whatever amount of time. Now for that walking dinosaur dude, you jump off, turn right, shoot, and then continue walking. Now what this does is it removes the gun kickback. And for this stage, there's only one really tricky part, and it's the part where you have to kill a line of bats. Now, killing the bats isn't necessarily hard, it's how to do it as fast as possible. And the way I do it, which you will see, is the way I found that's fast as possible, and I think it's fairly self-explanatory. Now this trick is really easy. You just go left, fall off the side, and immediately turn right and shoot. And the collision will be gone, so you just fall into the platform. This is the hardest stage in the game, by far. There is a ton of tricks that you can do. There's a lot of problems, and you can make, I don't even know how many mistakes, and since it's the second to last stage, this will cost you the run. This will cost you everything. So it's very, very important to do this stage as correctly as possible. Now what you want to do right in the beginning is you want to go left and switch so that everything is correct in terms of how you're going to solve this thing. And then basically you have to follow that path that you create, making sure that everything is switched correctly on the blocks. Now the rooftop part is the hardest stuff in the game, by far. What you have to do is you have to run along the rooftop, so it's easy. But as soon as you see the dog sleeping, you have to immediately start switching for the bombs. And the goal of this is that you have to walk the bomb across without exploding, so it's going to start pretty much partially off screen. And while you're chasing the bomb, you're also going to be switching, so you have to keep on looking between yourself, and the bomb, making sure that you're doing all the switches correctly. Otherwise, the bomb's gonna explode if you switch too slow, or you have a chance of getting stuck in between the bombs. Maybe the second hardest part of the game, trick-wise, which is doing I don't even know what you would call it, but it's like a out-of-bound, inbound jump, where you pixel perfect jump out around the block so that you can land on a switched block. Now, that is just like, for the mechanics of this game, it's really fucking hard. But as you can see, I do it once, but for an actual speedrun, I would probably never do it. I would probably take the safe path, which you've seen earlier in the video, where I switch, and I got hit by the bomb. But, I would only use the other method, like, once I know I can do that consistently. And basically, the reason why that trick is so hard to do is because you have a very, very, very high chance of just hitting your head and not getting out. If you can get out and do the turnaround, then you're fine. But if you get out and you can't do the turnaround, then I don't know what to tell you. For incident 15, but as you can see, if you just follow the path I use, then you should learn this stage fairly fast. I mean, I say it's the second hardest stage because by this point you're fairly exhausted between doing every single trick, and then you have to do like this one final tricky crap, and it can get pretty exhausting. Fall down, and when her gun hits the switch block that boosts you, you have to flip the switch. So it's basically the same as spike falling, as I mentioned earlier in this video, but the difference is you won't get like a checkpoint, because normally you would just skip every checkpoint in this stage. You have to do it all in one go perfect. If you get the checkpoint, then you're playing it safe and you can do it again, but if you don't get the checkpoint like I do, then you just have to go through it and pray that you make it. It's also good to note for this final section, there's actually a few ways to go through this, but I used the incorrect one. Or I used the correct one. is it? So yeah, I used the incorrect method, which is what you've seen. I'm at a loss for words now, but no, the correct method is this method. I couldn't remember if I recorded it or not. That's not good. Alright, now there's some things to note about this video game. That hurt to say, but no, there's some things to note about this game. One is that if you have the 3DS version and you have the Wii U version, the 3DS version is actually different. And it's different in the manner that the sprites or the pixels aren't transferred 1-1, because they basically redid the game. So I practiced a bit on the 3DS version on some of the stages, and they were a lot easier for whatever reason. It could be the screen size, it could be how they handled the system between the change. So if you're using the 3DS one and you're doing like the turnaround jump glitch, which I have a ton of problem on the Wii U, but on the 3DS I can get it every single time. So it's important to note that depending on which version you're going to speedrun, there are going to be differences. So this isn't like a complete guide for the 3DS, but it's like a stepping stone for it. The second thing to note is the Wii U version. I don't know if the resolutions actually matter, like if you play in 480p, standard, 720, 1080, and whatever have you, but I play in 480, so I don't know if some of these tricks will be different in timing and stuff like that. And I only practice in 480 because I don't have an HD capture card, and I do not plan to get one anytime soon. But other than those two reasons, there shouldn't be too much discrepancy between the two versions, as once you get the general feel down for the game, you'll be able to figure out ways on how to save yourself, use gun boost jumping, and other such means. Now, as some final notes, I don't do the last stage of the game, because that's basically up to you. It's a 5-minute stage. You could beat it in 3 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that. So it is possible to save like over 2 minutes, and it's basically an automatic switch stage. And I didn't show that because you have no control over everything. You just have to memorize the stage and be able to go as fast as possible as you can. However, there is one thing I regret not recording, which is the final boss pattern. But the final boss pattern is fairly simple. If you've beaten the game, then you know how the final boss is. But basically after every 2 shots, I believe it is, if I'm remembering correctly, you want to switch sides. So you start on the left side, and then you shoot him, you collect the prisoner, then you go back to the left side, and when he comes down, you shoot him again. And then for whatever reason, the pattern changes, because the switch time is like 4 seconds, I believe, the automatic switch time. So you have to go the other side for 2 shots, and then you have to go back to the left side for the final shot. But, you know, it's fairly easy to do. I mean, the final boss isn't hard at all. So, thanks for watching these videos. I hope that you speedrun the game, obviously, and I hope that it was a good stepping stone. If I find more glitches, or if, you know, their community becomes active towards this, because I know there are some people that want to speedrun it. There's talks about, like, you know, getting the best par time and all that stuff. But my goal is to go through the entire game in about 25 minutes, which is probably overestimating it, as I think you could probably do this game in like 19 minutes if you're good enough and you use every glitch. But I don't know anything yet, as I still make mistakes, and I don't even know how many runs I'm on. So, I wish you luck, and if there's any updates to this scene, or if I find any more glitches, I'll make a part 3, and I will explain some more.